First up is the Chinese New Year, also known as Spring Festival, which typically falls between January 21st and February 20th. This date changes yearly, as it depends on the lunar calendar. Next is the Tibetan New Year, or Losar, which usually commences in February or March. It's a 15-day festival, but the main celebrations occur in the first 3 days. In Vietnam, the New Year, called Tet, often falls at the same time as the Chinese New Year. It's the most significant holiday in Vietnamese culture, symbolizing a time for family reunions and remembrances. The Persian New Year, Nowruz, celebrates the arrival of spring. It begins on the vernal equinox, which typically lands on March 20th or 21st. The Bengali New Year, Pohela Boishakh, takes place on April 14th or 15th. It's a day of cultural performances, parades, and delicious food. The Sinhalese and Tamil New Year in Sri Lanka usually falls on April 13th or 14th, marking the end of the harvest season. The Balinese New Year, known as Nyepi, is a day of silence observed on a date that changes each year, usually in March. Thailand's Songkran Festival, which is their traditional New Year, happens from April 13th to 15th. It's famous for its water fights. In Ethiopia, Enkuttatash, or the Ethiopian New Year, is observed on September 11th or 12th. It coincides with the end of the rainy season and the appearance of the daisy-like mescal flowers. Rosh Hashanah, the Jewish New Year, typically falls in September or October. It's a time of reflection and repentance, marked by the blowing of the shofar, a ram's horn. The Islamic New Year, also known as Hijri New Year, varies each year. It marks the journey of the Prophet Muhammad from Mecca to Medina. On December 8th, the Buddhist New Year begins. However, the date varies between different Buddhist cultures. The Marwari New Year in India is celebrated on the day of Diwali, which is in late October or early November. The Gujarati New Year, Bestu Varas, is also celebrated on Diwali. The Maori New Year, Matariki, in New Zealand, is marked by the rise of the Pleiades constellation, usually in late May or early June. The Korean New Year, Seoyal, is typically celebrated at the same time as the Chinese New Year. The Japanese New Year, Shogatsu, is an exception to this list as it's celebrated on January 1st, but it's worth mentioning due to its unique traditions. In Nepal, the official New Year, Navavarsha, is celebrated on the first day of the month of Baishak, usually in mid-April. The Cambodian New Year, Chulchnam Thamay, which means Enter New Year, falls in mid-April. And finally, the Tuluva New Year Bisu is celebrated in the Tulu Nadu region in India in mid-April. So, as you can see, the date of New Year's Day is as diverse as the cultures that celebrate it. From the lunar-based Chinese New Year to the spring equinox marking Nowruz, to the appearance of a constellation for Matariki, the New Year is welcomed in a multitude of ways. It's a beautiful testament to the rich tapestry of global traditions that make our world so wonderfully diverse. So the next time January 1st rolls around, remember, it's just one of many New Year celebrations across the globe.